cut, so at least
Yeah.
we can get started and everybody can hear where we started.
Okay. It looks like it's broadcasting. If it's not, at least the three of us will still see it. But anyway, so I guess, like I said, the most basic way that I would start using Flopzilla, I put a short video on the group page the other day about starting hand strength, but you can really get an idea how hands will hit the flop. So when I selected that tens, that's pocket tens, obviously, right? You guys understand this matrix?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, should have mentioned that first. Anyway, so over here, when I pick that hand, it shows here that the range has hit 42.6% of the time of a made hand. But it being a mate, like so, other than the pair itself. So if we scroll up here, we can see quads. Only a quarter of a percent of the time you're going to flop quads with pocket tens, and it works its way down. You know, full house, or 1% of the time, and so on and so forth. The interesting thing that I found here that it really kind of blew me away. You see, it says pocket tens is going to hit as an over pair 25% of the time.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Right, and a lot of people nobody really thinks about the fact that that's 25%, and just moving up to jacks all of a sudden jumps from 25 to 36%.
Yeah, you look at those hands as almost similar sometimes.
Yeah, you think of the same thing, and then like I say, you go to queens, and all of a sudden it's gone to 50%. But queens, again, you think queens are so great, but even to kings, it jumps to 67, and then aces, obviously why we think it's so great, 88%. So pocket aces, you've got an overpair 88% of the time, and kings is only 67% of the time. And just say, like, you think of them almost the same, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would never have thought of them as that far apart before if you asked me that before I ever looked at them here.
Well, try to go back to aces.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we got 88%.
Then it would be an overpair, yeah.
Yeah. So what happened to the 12%? Anything else higher than aces?
Oh, yeah, I mean, 10% of the time you're going to flop a set, or almost 11%, right?
Yeah. So that's where it is. Okay.
So it shows
it
shows you'll only flop a nut flush draw 2.24% of the time. So you can really break down what the hands are worth flopping, right? So again, you look at one I like to look at. So pocket nines. Made hand 34.3% of the time, right? So overpair only 16%, which isn't what we're going for. Three of a kind, 10%. So 34.3% of the time it hits the board. But if we look at 9/8 suited, it's 34.1%. It's almost exactly the same.
Almost identical, huh?
Right? But you think of pocket nines as how much stronger than 8/9 suited, right? So you can really, like I said, it was where's the top pair, 8.5%, about 8.5%, where nines, it doesn't say as a top pair, it can't flop as a top pair, but over pair, 16%. So it's got that strength. But you start looking at the other hands that it's going to hit. You're going to hit more flush draws, more straight draws, obviously, right?
Yeah, and two pair, obviously you can't hit really with pocket nines, so you
right. Well, yeah, you can, but somebody else probably has it too. Yeah, so it's you're still gonna have overcards 10% of the time almost with 9/8 suited. So I don't know if there's any other hands you guys are interested in me just punching in to see, or any other. I just find this is kind of a fun way to first look at it and see what hands are worth, you know.
Well, here's the one that I'm curious about, and I'm just mixing it up. The hands that I'm only supposed to play in late position, I would play it under the gun just to mix up my game and pretend like I have a big, huge hand. So let's see what 5/6 is suited.
So 6/5 suited again.
6/5, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. 65%. So 28% of the time you're going to hit a made hand.
A made hand being
top pair or better.
Oh,
so
no made hand.
No made hands. But when you do hit the made hand, that's why you're playing the hand, right?
Yeah, that is really bad.
Yeah. And your big money is going to be when you hit your open and a straight draw 10% of the time, or your flush draw 11% of the time. And that's another thing to keep in mind, right? Like, you're only getting to hit your flush draw 11% of the time. So suited connectors, I mean, they're fantastic, but they're only fantastic when they hit the flop, right?
Yep. and I usually just basically be able to get out with less damage.
And
Depends on the table dynamics, how aggressive I want it to be, and especially if I'm card dead, I would play something in late position and an early position, and try to represent a huge hand.
well, the thing is too, when you do hit a hand with 6-5 suited, look at the strength of them, right? So you're going to hit a middle pair 13% of the time, or weak pair 13% of the time. So there's 26% of the 27% of the time that's where what you're hitting. You're hitting something weak, and then you're only hitting top pair 2% of the time, two pair 2% of the time, three of a kind 1.35%, and so on, right? So and you're flopping a straight only 1.29% of the time, flopping a flush only 0.82% of the time.
Hey, so that range where it says 20%, that's just adding up all the red check marks over there. So
Yes, it's adding up all
flush draw, the net flush draw, the open-ended straight draws.
Yes, but it'll also here's the thing with that too. It says no made hand 65% of the time, but you have to remember that these fall into that 65%.
The gut shots and overcards.
Yeah, because those are the not made hands, right? So that's the only time you have to really look at that. So basically above the no made hand up here, they're counting ace high as a made hand. I guess you'd say, but it says 0% there, right? Yeah, these are the hands you would be made hands, and these are all your drawing hands.
So it's considered a top pair or better, though. So flush draw or nut flush draw is better than top pair in this situation?
Well, no, sorry, that's like the nut flush draw is in here, right? Nut flush draw 2 card or nut flush draw 1 card.
Yeah.
Like there's only 1 card that can make the nut flush, say. But like those are the they're not considered made hands. The ones above, where like it says no made hand right here, 65%. Then these hands moving up are all the made hands.
Okay.
Apart from ace high, I guess you wouldn't count that as a made hand, but that's starting with the bottom pair and working its way up. So you've at least got a pair in here.
Draws as almost made hands as part of this, right?
Well, you could, yeah. I mean, it's not a made hand because it wouldn't win, right? Like it's just saying it's not a made hand. It's not at least a pair better. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, like it's you want to make a flush draw. That's why you're playing that hand. If that's
just saying that 28% is including these draws as hitting the board.
Oh yes, that's your equity. Yeah, your 28%.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you just hit the top pair, even the top pair, you should worry about your kicker, and then plus so many overs out there that can kill it.
Sorry, I gotta correct myself there. I was wrong. So the no made hand 65% includes these percentages here, not the made hands.
Oh, okay.
So 28% is only the pairs and better. The draws count as a non-made hand.
Well, how does that? Well, okay, so any pair or better. So even middle pair or weak pair is considered in the 28%.
Yes, because you see you've got the 13.2 and 13.7% for the weak pair.
I mean, that's 26.9% right there, and then you add up the 2, the 1, the 1. I mean, that's like 30-some-odd% up there.
Right. It's a good question.
I think the 28% of the time it looks like it's just the red check marks. So it's saying top pair or better, card flush draw, an open-ended straight draw,
3,
flush plus a pair,
4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, okay.
17,
so you're saying,
27.
So hang on, what happens if I hit this? Yeah, sorry, I must have clicked those off. So if we add all those in, it's 50% of the time.
Oh, so you can click that.
Yeah, you can pick. Yeah, you can click what you want on and off. You'll see when we go up to do a hand versus a hand. You'll see how that plays out.
Okay, so it's saying
So let's take these flush draws off of here.
Yeah, based on what you click, 6-5 hits what you click that percentage of the time.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now I got it.
Thanks for So here it is. Yeah, without any pair or better, it's hitting 34.6% of the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Thanks for teaching me how to use that. I forgot I had the base settings. I was playing with it already today. So.
Class number 2 will be next week.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess let's go. We'll go now a hand versus a range, which is really what this is all about. Did either of you have a hand that you wanted to do, or you just wanted to make up a random hand, or?
I mean,
I have one in mind.
like a suited connector, like a Jack 10 or something like that suited versus, like a Kings or something.
Okay, so let's say, well, here, I'll show you. Well, we can do that too, yeah. We'll do that one hand versus one hand before we go. So Kings versus Jack 10 suited of a, it's not counting in for the suits, but anyway, so looking up, the King's obviously not going to hit a weak pair, right? It can only hit, it's going to hit pocket pair, below top pair 21% of the time. Where's top pairs?
That's also a pocket pair below top pair, so that's including everything. It's already that.
Yeah. So it's 100% of the time. But we can now what we can do is we can put in a flop. And then that's where this comes in. So I'm just gonna hit random. So it'll give us a random flop of 10, 5, 4. Right? So then you can look. So obviously he can't hit a set. Could not have hit two pair. He's got an overpair 100% of the time. That's all he can have at that point, right? On that flop. Why is it? And you can see over here it shows that now on that flop the hand or the range, which is only king to king, is 81%, and we've only got 18% equity at this point against pocket kings.
Now this is showing Jack 10 as our hand over here, the dead cards.
Yeah, yeah. And why it says dead cards, I don't know if that's just in case you saw a card and you want to add it or something, right? So where this changes, this is a little too basic. I'm just going to put in 5% opening range. So I double-clicked. I've got these presets over here for the different ranges, and I have them all in percentage form.
How'd you get all those starting ranges over there? Did you just build them all yourself?
Well, I started building my own, and then I bought Split Suit's hand reading lab, and part of it was he had created all these ranges, so I've got all his ranges that I'm using.
Gotcha. I got Flopzilla, but I don't have any of those ranges built in yet.
Right. Yeah. So you can either build them yourself, or you can. There's some people that share them online. But anyway, so this is like saying a tight, first position opener, playing pocket sevens, and up, and then just ace king, suited or not suited, and then you see all of a sudden now, again, depending on what we want to pick, it's showing that on the flop, our hand, Jack 10 of hearts, on the flop of 10, 5, 4, is actually a favorite on the flop. We've got 56% equity in the hand, and our hand is best right now, 60.7% of the time against that range.
Okay, so against a 5% range, those best hands, Jack 10 or better, is actually a 56% favorite.
Well, on this flop.
On this flop, okay, 10, 5, 4.
Right, so, and that's why I say it's kind of cool, so you can say, okay, well, let's leave Jack 10 up there, we hit random again, it comes Queen 10, 9. These are great flops for Jack 10.
Yeah, it's great, yeah.
Again, the hand, yeah, again, against that range, we're at 56% best hand on the flop. Let's try to find a low flop here. Oh, there comes the big one. King 5-2. The range is best 100% of the time at this point because we haven't hit anything, right? But we've got 12% equity on the flop.
Yeah, we have no draw really either.
Yeah.
Okay.
King 8-6. Our equity skyrocketed. Now it's at 41%. So we got the flush draw and the backdoor straight draw. So it comes down to getting to know your opponents, and if you know the kind of range they're playing, that's where you can really start looking at these and seeing if you're making the right plays or not. I'm just going to pull up a hand from this just to show you. Let's see. Trying to look for something where later on in the tournament where I got more hands against these guys.
Oh, this works out great for my touchscreen because then I can move from one screen to another. Even I don't have to resume it. I can just slide it.
Oh, cool. So anyway, this Mike, have you used Poker Tracker 4?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I love it.
And you got the HUD? You got a HUD?
I built my own. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't use Skies or anything like that. Yeah.
So anyway, this is Sky's HUD here. You got your notes, right? I'm sure you're aware of that. So I'll just give you a quick rundown. Then we got the big blinds, hands played against this player, voluntary put money in the pot, pre-flop raise, raise first in, fold to 3-bet, 4-bet, continuation bet, turn continuation bet, fold to C-bet, or sorry, yeah, fold to C-bet and fold to turn C-bet, and then their steal stats. And I mean, he's got all the pop-ups here too, right? Which gets pretty in depth.
Yeah.
Then the 3-bet and called a pre-flop 2-bet. So I just jumped in further because I saw it was a big pot, and I've got more hands against him, so we can actually use some of the stats a bit. So what I would do here, I would punch in 5 of clubs, 10 of spades is my hand. Whoops, that's the flop. 5 of clubs, 10 of spades. Let's clear this range and see how the hand goes. So, oh, I wasn't in that hand. Nice. Let's find another one. Actually, I'm going to start like this. Trying to find one that's got action all the way through the whole hand. Oops. Let's try and get this out of the way quick. So queen 4 in the small blind. I just complete, obviously, because it's limped. So we can put our queen 4 over here. This is a little tougher because it's against 2 opponents, not 1 opponent. But I would say, so what I would do is I'd pick a range based on his stats. It's only 22 hands, but let's just assume it's a lot of hands. He's coming in 50% of the time. He's only raising 14% of the time. So, I don't know, I'm going to give him something like this for a limping range, just for fun. Queen, I did that again. Queen, 4 hearts. Okay, so we get a flop of 8, Jack 10 of hearts. So right away we see the flop. We're crushed by this flop. The range is best 92% of the time right now, and we only have 27% equity in the hand. So I'm assuming I check here. Yeah. And it gets checked around. So if you want to get really technical, you can start to look, okay, well, what hands would they both check? And I'm going to go by the limper. So he limped in. Would he check a straight? Possibly, right? So we can leave that in the range. Would he flop? Possibly he's going to check a set, 2 pair, over pair, top pair. He could technically limp in and check those. So we leave them. He could any one of his made hands. I guess we can leave in at that point, and obviously the no-made hands, right? So we've got everything in his range for checking back. The turn comes Queen of Clubs. So we punch that in. Filter this through. After turn, when you I'm just going to leave. Oh, Queen of Clubs. So right now it's showing it's not going to make a difference here because we've cleared them all through, but in order to move to the next round, for it to filter down, you would click on this, and if there was hands that we had taken out, they would disappear from the range.
Where did you click on? I didn't see where you're at.
Right here, there's a right there. It's red, so that means it hasn't filtered. Let's say we took top pair and over pair out of there, and then I click on it. Now you can see it took out on the filter. Oh, I gotta get off of it. See how it has aces, kings, ace jack, and king jack are now blacked out?
Yeah.
Because I was saying that we've filtered those hands out.
All right, so the little blue checks next to those hands, you're saying, okay, these aren't real possible hands that he'd have right now?
These are all possibilities, yeah. That's the filter.
Okay. So after the flop, this is what he could still have in your opinion.
Yeah. So then the Queen clubs come, and I mean, do you check or bet? Let's see what I do. I checked. He bets 800. He calls 800, and I call 800. So now you decide, okay, well, what is this guy now calling just 800 with? So just to make it a little more interesting, let's say we know he won't check a straight twice, and he won't check his set twice. 2 pair, we'll leave in. So he checked the flop. He's going to only call with these hands, or sorry, he would raise with these hands. Let's say he would raise with an over pair.
Put in the turn card there, though, don't you?
Oh, sorry, that had it in there already. Yeah, you're right. So straight. Sorry, so we know he would raise with a straight. He would raise with a set. Let's say that he would smooth call with 2 pair, but an over pair he's going to raise. So he could still have top pair. He would call it middle pair, weak pair. There's no ace highs left in his range. And let's say he wouldn't call if he had no made hand, unless it's a flush draw or an open ender. Okay,
so now this is eliminating more out of his range, right?
Right. So now when I click on it, you'll see it took all those hands out of the range. So it's eliminated the 6-4 and the 5-4 suited. Sorry, when I hover over there, it shows them again. All the pocket pairs 8 and up are now out of his range. The 10-9, the 10s, or sorry, 10-9s, Jack-9, Ace-9 we've eliminated, but all those other hands are still in there in some form, right? So then we need a river card, which is the 7 of diamonds.
But prior to the river, your hand is best 67% of the time against that range?
Hand is best 57% of the time, yeah. Or sorry, hand is best 67%, we've still got 57% equity.
Okay.
So it's an easy call there if we've been ranging it like this in play. So we have the 7 of diamonds, and check. They both check it back. King 2, Ace 8. So we were ranging this guy here, and you can see Ace 8 offsuit was just outside of the range that we had decided on, but it was well within kind of what we were looking at. Now you could even go back and nobody bet on the flop, did they? I need one where somebody bets on the flop. Let's see. Because you can use it for calculating whether or not it's good to make check raises, or trying to find something where I missed big time, but had an opportunity to check raise. The big hands are always like to me, they're kind of boring to look at because they're pretty straightforward what you would do, right?
Now this is more of a hand review software as opposed. You can't, obviously you're not using this while you're playing, right?
No, you could never. It's funny because Poker Stars will shut down if you put it on. Really? It's like, really, Poker Stars? You think I'm sitting there calculating hands, right?
Yeah, that's impossible. Yeah. So as you use this, though, what you're saying is you built up enough knowledge of it or familiarity with it, so that's kind of in your head as you're playing.
Exactly. Yeah. So once you get playing, you just kind of see the spots, right? And you start to know your equities better. And it's just like if you know, for example, say you know that you're just suck playing in the big blind, you can filter so that it only shows all of your big blind hands, and you just run over, all you do is review big blind, big blind, big blind, so that when you do go to play the big blind, you're more familiar. You've got a better handle again, right?
Hey,
right,
Dennis, can I interrupt for a sec here?
Sure.
Do me a favor. I sent you that message to your right. It's Trent Gray's email address, waiting for an invite.
Where did you send? Oh.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to get him invited here somehow.
Sorry, guys. I just got that message on Facebook.
Oh, I'm glad you're paying attention. I wasn't. Oh. Michael Gray, Trent 5. Yeah.
Yep, that's him.
Okay, it's been sent. So where was I? So this hand, hopefully some action. So you can see now I'm getting some more hands against these players. I got 70 hands at this point. Let's see. So I raised pre-flop. There's a dead blind. So we look at it. Put in our queen 10. Was it diamond or spade? So now we got to decide what kind of range would the guy call with. Well, it's blind versus button. So I've got calling 2-bet ranges. Let's say that this guy's a 26% would probably be. Let's see. What's he calling? I'll use his actual stats. So raise first in. He's only calling pre-flop raises 7% of the time, which, if I click on it, I can look to see what positions those were even in. But there's not much on. He's in the big blind, so going to give him credit. Obviously, more everybody calls more in the big blind, at least I find. So let's say 26%. Now you notice when I punch this one in, my calling ranges, I don't include aces, kings, queens, jack, tens, nine, because I don't think that he would call me here with those hands. I think he's going to raise with those hands. So I mean, we could. Everybody's going to set up their ranges a bit different. We could debate about that, what we think they would call with for a while. So let's just trust that this is the range we're going to use for here. So you can already see a lot of hands eliminated. The flop comes 5 hearts, 4 hearts, 6 of clubs. Now the action goes a check. Now I need to decide, should I bet here? So we've got him on this range, and we can see that his range has hit the board with all of these hands. If we've got everything here, we got to think what would he check with? Well, he's in the big blind, so it's tough. He could check with just about everything, looking for a check raise. But I would say, again, you got to decide how you feel the board hits you. It's probably a better board for him than me, so maybe a toss up to bet or not. So we'll just see what happens. I bet about half pot. He calls. So now you say, okay, well, what hands would he call with, right? So we get back to here. Let's try to see. He's not a very aggressive player. Just looking at his stats quickly. So let's say he's quite passive. So again, I don't know if we just to take hands out so that we don't just keep the whole range wide open. Let's say that this guy is going to check raise with a set or a straight at this point, but let's leave in his 2-pair, overpair, top pair, middle pair, weak pair. No made hand. So I'll take that off and just leave the flush draws. We'll take out the gut shot. Let's say he wouldn't call with a gut shot, and he wouldn't call with just 2 overcards or a 2-card backdoor flush draw. But then we still got all the other flush draws. So that brings him down to 47.9% of his hands when he's calling there, which means we're in trouble. His hand is best at that point, even with that range of hands that are left. His hand is best right now 91% of the time, and his equity in the hand is still about 80%. So the turn comes 8 of spades. Again, he checks, and I check. So again, we can't really eliminate any hands at the turn there from him, so we let him off easy. So we filter it through. We see now that our hand has gotten worse. It's now 5%, about 6% best, and only 17% equity left in the hand. And 10 of hearts, check, check, check. 10 of hearts. So you see our hand equity just jumped because of the top pair. Even if we don't filter through those other hands, but what he had, we all of a sudden jumped to 59% equity just by hitting the top pair on the river. But again, I didn't bet because of the 7. I wimped out, I guess. And he had a 7, king 7. Which, again, sometimes you miss, right? So it wasn't in the range. I didn't have a king 7 in the starting range. I guess it could have been because of the big blind. I didn't put him as wide. But that's when that's where you start to make notes. You keep in mind, well, this guy will call on the big blind at 2.5 big blind raise with king 7. So now you can make a note on him in here, which I'm going to do actually on that.
When you add notes into Poker Tracker when you're reviewing, will that pop up with them when you're actually playing them?
Yep, and I put them in while I'm playing too, right? So here I put call it a 2.5x button raise in big blind with king 7 off. So I save that because I mean I'm less likely to make that when I'm playing because usually I'm playing like 4 or 5 tables. So every time I see somebody don't necessarily think to write that in, but now in reviewing that, I put that in there. So if I'm if I'm doing another hand against this guy, I have my notes that I can take that in consideration when I'm building his range.
And
who's the new guy?
it's Michael.
Hey, Mike.
How are y'all doing?
He's at work. He can't talk.
Oh, okay.
I'm multitasking.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you please add Mike here?
Oh, another one? Another mic?
Yeah, another one.
Is this the mic party?
What the heck? I'm still mic number one.
Mark,
No, okay.
Mark, not Mike. Mark
Oh,
Carey.
Mark. Yeah,
Mark.
Mark.
Hang on, I'm trying to.
Hey, Dennis and I'm actually about to log off myself. I'll actually watch the rest of this on video, but this is already pretty helpful, Dennis. Like, you know, I've messed around with this a little bit, but I've never really seen it progress from flop to turn to river and really, put your equities and ranges on here. So just a starting spot, but it's already making me see it differently, so that's good.
Yeah, that is good. It's good to hear. I'm glad I didn't waste your time on this.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot more to dig into this, so I may be hitting you up, individually or whatever. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, and if you have Poker Tracker 4, like you said, you can. There's a way you can send me the histories, right?
Yeah.
So we can do it either way, or share your screen or whatever. But I can definitely show you how it. And it just takes getting used to, right? And going through the hands one by one, and you're only finding a little bit. Sometimes it seems obvious, but you start to notice spots, right? You'll start to notice certain hands hit certain flops certain ways, or you'll notice, wow, he can't have anything there. I can check raise him even though I have absolutely nothing. Like, look at the equities, right? So
this is really just like a heads up, though, you versus one other hand, right?
Well, it's best for that. There is a way to add a second range. You can go range versus range, but I don't know if you can go range versus hand. I have to look into that again. I couldn't get the program to work on mine to open a second matrix. But there is a way.
If I'm like in a 6-way pot or something, like in a live cash game, I mean, there's really no way to find out really what my equity or my hand is versus 5 other players, right?
I think you can do that with Equilab. I think you can enter extra hands in that. That's free. I don't know if you've used that one before.
I haven't. No.
Yeah,
It looks similar though, right?
Yeah, but you can put you can't do like the kind of stuff we're finding out here, but you can punch in a bunch of different ranges and how they make out versus one particular hand. But you wouldn't be able to, I'm not sure if you can do it on flop, turn, and river. That's the only difference.
Yeah. I had a pretty interesting hand against 5 other players the other night that it'd be interesting to see how it breaks down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was playing cash. I was at the 300 game. I think I had 220 or something like that. And there's small blind, big blind. A guy limped. It was 3 5s as the blinds. A guy limped. The guy raised to 30, and I had ace king offsuit, and I called the 30. I think I was like hijack or something like that. I got a call behind. The small blind called, the big blind called, and the limper called. So it's 5 ways to the flop on a $30 raise.
Wow.
The flop came out ace 10-9 rainbow, and so I have ace king offsuit. It's ace 10-9 rainbow. And the small blind pushes all in for 95 bucks. The big blind calls, the limper calls, the original razor calls,
Yeah.
and it's to me, and I got about $190 left. But what do you do in that situation?
Well, I mean, you could even, you can't really get an accurate, because I could say you could start saying, okay, well, let's just open up the range and assume they're all within that range, right? But that doesn't really give you the true answer. I'm trying to.
That would be a tough call.
It doesn't have to be on Flopzilla. I'm just asking you scenarios.
Yeah, ace 10-9 was the flop, so you can't really.
Yeah.
All you can have is a pair. They can have what? They can have draws, or they can have 2 pair or a set, right? So.
A set, 2 pair, an open-ender for all the limpers for the 10-9. It can't be the Broadway open-ender because you got the ace-10 there, and so.
Well, I know what I would do. I would fold. Well, I mean, can you really? There's that many people interested in the pot. Can you really be ahead of all of them?
Yeah, with the top.
Just top pair. I mean, you could, I guess.
Well,
right?
you still have the draw there.
Well, here, we can do it here. And it does have flop, turn, river. So your hand was ace king.
Yeah, an ace king.
Suit. So, and then what do you put on? Like, you'd have to give me what kind of range you think they're playing.
Yeah, we don't need to get that deep into it. It was just funny
Yeah,
scenario.
but here's how you would do it with this with the poker Equilab.
Yeah.
So then you would just start putting in ranges. So you take the slider here, say that. Okay. Let's just do it against two hands. So I know you said you got to get going. Say it's a super nit there that you think was in the hand. One more range, and say a super. Oh, that's a polarized range.
Yeah, you gotta have two guys with a pretty big range, like at least 30 or something like that, because they're calling fourth and fifth, callers.
Yeah. So let's say there's those. Let's say it's against those three players, and just pre-flop. See, this one takes a little bit longer to calculate.
It's really tough on a cash game because they can have a wide range compared to tournament players.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many hands this runs, but Ace King is slowly coming back. I don't know if you guys can see those numbers very well.
So my basis on that, Mike, if I was in your situation, being last to act,
There was
that
actually a
gives
player
you...
behind me too, so small blind pushed, short stack pushed, one caller, one fold, another guy called. It was to me with a player behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about
So you got two callers, right?
It was
one push, two
pot
callers, and then you.
Yeah, and then another 300. So you're talking about a $465 pot to me, and I had 190 left.
So what'd you do?
Well, I wanted to go home, so I pushed. Everyone called.
Wow.
The turn was a king, by the way.
All right, that gives you two pair,
And
and
at that point, I knew
possible
I was dead.
Broadway there.
Was that Mike?
I said at that point I figured I was dead.
Yeah, you figured straight at least.
Yeah, I looked to my girlfriend. She was actually there waiting for me to go. I'm like, the only thing that helps me is another ace. The king hits and I lose. And sure enough, I turned two pair. And out of that hand, the small blind had 10-9. The guy that called had 8-7. And by the way, the river was a 6. The guy had ace-jack. I had ace-king, and the guy behind me had queen-jack. And he made a $1,900 pot with queen-jack.
Wow.
Because he was open-ender on the flop.
Open-ended on the flop, and there
Plus
was already
the king.
My king gave him the straight.
It's crazy.
The Broadway higher. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Poker Equilab or why it's moving so slow. It says it's 1% complete. Usually it goes much faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would tell you.
Going, guys.
Yep.
So I will talk to you on Facebook to see about what we do next time.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dennis. I appreciate it, man.
Anytime, man. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Freud, did I lose you too?
I'm here.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, okay.
I had to mute you and turn the camera off and work, and people come in here.
Oh. So can you see the screen right now, or?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Is there anything you wanted to ask, or?
I really just, well, man, I've got a ton of questions. I'm new to online, and I'm new to all the software. I just downloaded Poker Tracker 2 days ago, and I downloaded Flopzilla. I haven't registered either one of them yet. I'm going to probably when I get off tonight.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to figure out how to use both of them to my advantage. I'm looking forward to looking at your video.
Yeah. So what time did you get on the video? Like, what were we doing when you got on?
I just got on here. I didn't even see this hand play out.
Yeah. So I did.
But I'll rewatch it.
Yeah. I'll try and do another hand here too while you're on. Troy, you got some time still, or do you have to get going? Hey, Troy. I can see him, but I don't know if you can hear us.
Yeah, he may have. Does this show everyone? Did you see when I had myself muted?
Oh, yeah. You went to just an icon. I guess that's why I thought you were gone.
Yeah. No, I turned the camera off and muted the microphone. Yeah, it might be gone. I don't know.
Here's oh, maybe that's not the end of that one. Yeah, like I said, I didn't want to pick just a whole bunch of hands where I'm like bragging about how much I've won on a hand, so I'm trying to find something just interesting, like a little neat.
How are you integrating this in your play? Are you using this during a game, or is this mostly for post game or per game? Just for study, or is this for like analyzing your hands later with poker tracker?
It's mostly for reviewing, right? Like you can't. Certain sites, if you like, I know Poker Stars. If I turn Poker Stars on, Flopzilla locks up.
Yeah.
Right. You can use it with.
Hang on 1 second.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry.
No worries. Yeah, so this is a satellite I played earlier today, right? So here's how I would. Just got to move this a bit. So I can sit there. Let's do another quick. Like I said, this is all about studying and figuring this stuff out, so it just becomes second nature, right?
Okay.
You start to think of the ranges better. You start to the numbers make more sense. You start to recognize opportunities. This is all about going back and finding your mistakes, really. I would say. Like I found I'll go through sessions where I thought I played really good, and then I'll find a few spots and think, wow, what was I thinking there? Right? But you start to notice those because you start to see the numbers. Let's see. So hopefully this is it's easier to do a heads up. So I raise big blind calls. So I've got the beautiful ace king of diamonds. Again, I said I don't know if you heard what I said, but I got some calling ranges here. That was a middle position raise. So let's say the guy's only going to call with 22% of the top 22%. So that gives him pocket twos are better, a lot of the suited connectors, and all the suited aces. Actually, I'm going to add down to ace 6. And we get a flop, king 10 6. He checks to me, and I'm obviously going to bet. I bet about almost 2/3 pot. And he calls, so now we go to the board. And king 10 6 of hearts. So turn that off. I got to think, what hands would he call me with here? So again, I'm just going to say that people are really aggressive. That he's not going to call with a set. He would raise. You can see it doesn't even show trips because he can't have trips on this board. So let's say 2 pair and an overpair. Those ones he's going to re-raise, or he's going to check raise. Top pair, pocket pair, or he's not going. Or sorry, he's going to come along with the call with top pair. He can't have pocket pair below top pair. He's going to come with middle pair, weak pair. Actually, what's the weak pair? 6. Let's say the weak pair. He's not even coming along. Ace high, I'm going to check off because I'm going to put the ace highs with as far as only if they're in a flush draw. And if he's got an open ender, he's only got that with the queen jacks. It's only 4 combos. Which says 6. How many combos was that? See, it says at the top 16 combos up there. It only showed while I'm on it. So there's 16 combos of queen jack that you could have. That's actually another neat thing I should have shown before the other mic was gone. If I hit tab, it shows you the combos of hands that they could have. Card combos instead of percentages, if you prefer combo form.
I guess.
So like there's 18 combos of 18, or top pair you could have. So I prefer the percentages. I just find them easier to work with. So yeah, let's say that's what he's coming along with. He's not coming with a gut shot. So that narrows his range down significantly. Took rid of a lot of the pairs, and it shows that if that's the case, if we're right, our hand is best 100% of the time. And we have 73% equity in the hand at this point on this flop with the information that we've entered. We get a 2 of diamonds. He checks again. I'm obviously betting again. And he raises me on the 2 of diamonds. So we start looking at, well, what would he re-raise with here? So he could re-raise with 2 pair. He doesn't have an overpair. Could be top pair. Middle pair, weak pair. Do we think he's going to re-raise? We already have the 6s out, I believe, when all the 6s are in. So we're going to take. I don't think he's re-raising all of. Is it all his chips? Yeah, all his chips with bottom pair. Flush draw. You think he would have done it on the flop, but let's just say he's crazy and he's saving it for there. no flush draw, no open-ended. Sure, we'll still give him the open-ended straight draw. So if those are the hands that I think that he would re-raise me with, that means that I'm still equity. I still have 85% equity in the hand. My hand is still best at this point. He can't have me beat right now with that range that we selected. And we're getting 27% pot odds to call. And we've got 85% equity, so it's a no-brainer call, I guess, I would say.
Right.
And the 8 of clubs comes off, and he shows 310. So that kind of just destroyed my whole demonstration because we didn't have 310 in the starting range. But if you think of it as a competent player, the way I narrowed it down, like you can't fold that. You know what I mean? Like it shows you're so far ahead. Where a lot of people, they see that and all of a sudden start thinking monsters under the beds and start thinking hands that couldn't be in there in the first place. All of a sudden the guy thinks, oh my God, he's got pocket aces, or oh my God, he's got what else?
Right.
King 10. Well, we've already eliminated those hands, so you can't have that.
Right. Right.
So, like I said, when I played that hand this afternoon, I didn't think all of that process through. Obviously, I didn't have the time or the brain power to do it all, figure those ranges. But you start to have the idea, right? Well, you just start to narrow them down more and more as you excuse me, as you play.
Right.
I mean, I could figure out. I knew I had about 30% equity, and I knew there's no way I could throw away top pair in that spot, but I didn't know for sure. So you come back here and you look and say, okay, good, I made a plus EV play, right?
Yeah.
Or you might find that you made a bad mistake. Or the other thing that's nice too, I can't do it in here. You can only do it in play, but this little icon here, when you're running, when you're using your HUD, there's another icon beside it. And if you click on it, it gives you options. And one of the options is tag hand, so it'll show the last hands you played. So say I thought I wasn't sure if that was a good play, I could scroll over to tag on the ace-king hand, and then I could pick review, and then when I come back later, when I'm in here, you can put that in here. You can show there's the tag, so I can mark review. And you see I didn't tag any today to review.
Right.
Or you can tag bad hand, good hand, review, and you can go back through and say there might be only 10 hands, but at least you can go over those 10 hands and see. You might find that you felt, oh, I lost on an all-in. Did I make the right call? You can go back through and calculate if you made the right call or not.
Can I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, for sure.
Right here, I see under clear mode right here, you have 2-bet ranges and called 2-bet ranges. And
here?
Did you create all these? Are these default? Yeah, these defaulted into this program, or?
No, unfortunately, it doesn't come with any defaults. You have to create your own. Or I attended a webinar with Jonathan Little, and he did a hand-ranging webinar, and I asked if he would send everybody his ranges, and he did. So I have them saved somewhere, and then I have Split Suit. I did his hand-reading lab, and it came with all of these. These are the presets that I have here. Is all of his. Or you can, like I said, you can carry on adding your own, or some people sell them or whatever. Right? They're not hard to create. It's kind of tedious to create one, right? Like, let's see, let's create one.
It'd be nice if you could just purchase that stuff.
It would be, yeah. Well, like I say, it's not like, so let's say we wanted to start at a 5% range. You just click here. You can drag it over to 5%, say roughly 5%. So there's 5.5%. So if we take out the, ace-jack suited, king-queen suited, that's actually more, well, let's leave those in, because that's probably a 5.5, like I'd say there's a, roughly a 5% opening range. So then I would click on here, store range, and then you'd enter the name and hit OK, and then it'll put it in that set of ranges.
Hey, Dennis, Mark is still waiting for your invite.
Oh, I sent it? Okay, I tried sending it. I'll try it again. Copy.
How the hell did you learn how to use this thing?
Flopzilla?
Yeah, you just started playing with it, or?
Like I said, I've spent some money on I spent some money on the lessons and classes and stuff, just watching a lot of videos and stuff, right, and trial and error and webinars. But it's definitely helpful doing lessons and the webinars really helped, right? But there's lots of YouTube videos. Did Mark get his invite now? You know? Right?
I haven't heard anything from him yet.
I wish, yeah, I feel bad if he's trying to get on. Just checking the Facebook again. Said checking for it. That was 11 minutes ago. Sent another. Did you have any other questions, Mike?
A billion, but I won't burden you down with a whole ton of them. Can you bring up your poker tracker?
Yep. Or you mean
the table itself?
Okay.
You had I seen your your HUD.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that when you actually purchase and register, that they give you more options. But my default hub sucks.
Oh yes, yes.
It it blocks all. I mean, I can't see some things. I'm trying to figure all this out. It actually, I turned it off playing a tournament the other day. It was more distracting than it was helpful. In casting, I left it on trying to learn how to use this information. But
now, when I was watching Dennis the last Sunday, Mike, I noticed that those numbers, he drags it and rearranges it. You can hold and drag it anywhere you want to.
Like this, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put your HUDs where you want them. You don't. There's a lock button. You can turn the lock off, and that's obviously what I do. I'm constantly moving them because I don't. Part of why I move them in my own spots is for visual reasons, but also if a player gets knocked off the table, and I might not notice that he got knocked off the table, and the new player goes in his spot, the next couple hands still has the old HUD up, or I might not realize it's a different player, so that way all of a sudden the HUD's in a different place again, and I go, oh, that's a new guy. But here's, this is roughly how I set mine up. But sorry, what did you want to, so I got this set up.
Is this a HUD that you could build, you built yourself?
No, this is Sky's HUD.
Yeah. Okay.
And I started working on building one. I kept messing around with it, and then he's like, "Here,
so
check."
Let me get this straight. Dennis, I just want a clarification on this.
Yes.
So technically, when we buy this poker tracker, it doesn't come with a HUD, or is poker tracker the HUD?
It's poker tracker comes with a HUD. It's a custom HUD. It's a default HUD. So let's see, HUDs. So you come in here. Oh, wrong one. What? That's not right. There's something here in the settings where you can see you can import a HUD. So that's what will happen. Sky, if you buy Poker Tracker 4 from his link, he'll send you his HUD, and then you import it here.
And what does that really HUD means? It
Well,
just
you can have multiple.
Rents.
You have multiple HUDs, right? So, here's what edit HUD options. So I have these different HUDs in here. I have Black Rain. I don't know if you guys have heard him. He's a micro stakes cash author. I have his HUD because if you buy his book, his HUD was in it. Then they have a bunch of these default ones, and then I've got Sky's here.
Okay, so the HUD really, it's like your profile, your opening range. That's what it is, right?
No,
because I get so confused with, I get confused with the terminologies and stuff like that. I thought that Poker Tracker is the HUD, but now you're telling me we can create our own HUD.
Well, Poker Tracker 4 is the tracking software. But you run the HUD is built into Poker Tracker, so it's in the program. So you have a HUD by default. They've given you some default HUDs, but you can create your own if you want to. Or like I say, you buy it from Sky and you get this for free, which he's already done all the work. Now I don't know, same thing, Mike. I don't know how much you've used it, but you can go deeper. Like here we've got full to 3-bet stat, and if I click on it. breaks down even more into more detail with this player.
Oh, so
So again, like that's not a good one. I don't have any hands there with action. Where's something?
So Froy, it's basically just the HUD is just a table that you can put whatever information you want to see.
Yes.
At a given time, you can change and put whatever you want to know. If you just want to know how many big blinds the guy has, you can probably just put that in there.
Exactly. Exactly. You got it. Yeah. You get. So if you don't care what their 3-betting frequency is, you don't need it in there. You're crazy if you don't have that frequency on there though. But like I've got this one here, fold to 3-bet. Today there was a hand. I'm trying to remember what I think I had like Queen 9 of clubs on the button and the cutoff raised, and I would never 3-bet there. But I looked at her 3-bet stat. Her fold to 3-bet was 14 out of 16 in that tournament. So she's folding way too much. So I just 3-bet, and sure enough, she folded. I would never have thought to do that, but because I knew it was somebody that's super tight, not going to play back at me very often, I used that to my advantage. I could have had 5-2 for all that mattered at that point.
Right. It's pretty much. I'm assuming this HUD. It helps you keep track of things like you're going to keep track of it mentally when you're playing a live cash game.
Yes.
I mean, you only have 10 people to keep track of, but if you're playing 3-4 games at a time, there's no way in hell you keep track of 40, 50 players what they're doing.
Exactly, and like I said, you jump from screen to screen and you think it's the same fish that's been sitting there, but meanwhile they lost out and a shark just sat down, but you don't know because you haven't paid attention, right?
Right. Let me ask you something. So this basically it will keep. Like I said, I've used it twice in a short period of time, but I'm assuming if you play with a person, it keeps their stats continuous from now on. The next session with them, it'll add to it.
You got that right. Yeah.
New players come in, and it shows your hand number of hand. Or on mine, I don't know where it is on yours. It shows number of hands you've had with that player.
Yeah, right.
And obviously, the more samples you have, the more accurate the data would be. As an
yeah, and a nice thing too, like when I hover over this here, 59 hands, hands abbreviated. It says value 59. It says this session 59. So I know that all 59 of those hands were in this game.
Okay. Yeah, because people can.
Okay, so if well, yeah, like you might have 1,500 hands against somebody, and only 12 of them are in this session. So you might the other way around. And that's handy to know too, right?
Right. Would you mind explaining what's important to you with this information?
Okay. Sure.
What's needless nonsense bullshit for a newbie, and what's imperative?
Well, this is good right here. To start right here, I hover over the notes. When
I wanted to know that too.
Yeah, but if you hover over the notes here, it tells me there's a P marking pre-flop. If I move my cursor, it goes away. You won't be able to read those, but it says things like 3-bet. This player 3-bet blind versus steal all in with queen. They opened all in from under the gun to the hijack with ace-3 suited with between 5 and 15 big blinds. So it gives you all these little notes. So if you're on a tough spot, you can look and see what hands have they been opening with, or if it's gone to showdown, they can tell you those cards. But obviously, big blinds is important. Hands played is important. Then we have voluntary put money in pot. You want to know that. You want to know how often they're playing a hand. Next, most important, pre-flop raise. So this guy has played 9 out of 58 hands. He's only raised 4 of them pre-flop, right? So he's maybe that number. It doesn't tell you much over 59 hands. The more hands you play, the more that meaningful that'd be. So say the guy's got 30 voluntary puts money in pot 30% of the time, but he's only raising 7% of the time. That means he's limping with all his middle cards, and he's only raising with monsters. So when he raises, I'm going to fold if I have a marginal hand, right? That's a big stat. Raise first in, again, you want to know when he's got the chance to raise first, how often he's doing that. If that's a lot higher, then he's probably trying to steal more often than not. Fold to 3-bet, again, that's a big one. That tells us when we can try and take advantage of them. And then next, they're 4-bet. So again, this person's 3-bet, fold to 3-bet. It's only 4 hands. But let's say that it was 40 hands that he's folded every time somebody 3-bet him, and he's never 4-bet. We're going to 3-bet him with 2-5 because he's going to fold, and if he doesn't, if he re-raises, that means he's got aces. You know what I mean? Like you can start to use those. So next big one, C-bet. So how often does the person C-bet? If their C-bet is 80 or 90%, you can see mine's 86. It's too high. So I'm more likely to get check raised by somebody. Because they're going to say, well, he's he's c-betting 86% of the time, and he's only hitting the board 30% of the time.
Right.
Something doesn't add up, right?
Right.
And then again, so it's got there's flop c-bet, then turn c-bet is the next stat, which again, if you'll know if maybe they c-bet 80% of the time, but then on the turn they only c-bet 20% of the time. So every time he c-bets, just call him and then check raise him or bet on the turn, he's going to fold. So that, you start to see their flop honest or not, right? So this person would not be flop honest, but they're turn honest. Here we have called a pre-flop 2-bet. So are they likely to call very often? This guy's not calling raises very often, only 8% of the time pre-flop, and he's only 3-betting 8% of the time. 2 out of 25 opportunities did he 3-bet. These are the steal stats. So he's attempted. He hasn't tried to steal. So if they have an 80% or 90% steal stat, that means when they're in the cutoff or the button, they're trying to steal from us every time. And if you click on this one, like I say, it gets into better stats. So here, fold to steal. He's 100% in the small blind and 100% in the big blind. Again, it's not many hands, but if that was over a lot of hands and you see that he's always folding it, then you can just start raising with garbage again, right?
How do they figure this steal percentage here? Are they just assuming you're stealing from the cutoff or the
if you're raising from the,
for
if
the
you're the
button?
first, yeah. So if you're the first to enter the pot on the cutoff or button.
Okay. But it has nothing to do with their hand ranges. They're not taking
No.
into account any kind of card to get showed down. Just if you're the first one in the pot and you're raising, they think they're counting that as a steal, right?
Right. And then they've got here too, big blind fold versus small blind steal. So this guy, again, it's only over one hand, but you can see he folded when he got raised in that spot, right? Again, some of these don't mean much when you only have 59 hands against a guy, but once you have more hands, if it's an active player, you'll know so much more about them. Again, here, this one, I don't have any hands on. This guy here, would be the same stat. Fold to c-bet is 50%. So, and fold to turn c-bet is 100%. Again, it's on a small sample size, but again, here's a guy to attack, right? Because he's going to fold half the time. Let's say the flop comes and he checks to me. Do you guys know if I make a half pot bet, do you guys know how often it needs to win? How often that bet needs to work to be profitable?
No.
So it's say the pot was 100 and we bet 50 to as a C bet. That means we're betting 50 to win 150. So it needs to work 33% of the time.
Yeah.
Right? So it needs to work 33% of the time, and he's folding half the time. C bet him.
Right.
Because and that's only that's only as a pure bluff. Like you still could end up hitting a hand or have a hand, right?
Right.
So that's where these numbers start to come in, where you start to know these statistics to, how often does my bet need to work, and how often, if he's going to fold more than that, well, then I'm going to bet it.
What is this? Go back to this stat here, and that guy that you're hovering above there, this 25. What stat was that?
This?
You said a while ago. No,
So
all the way to your left.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
That's raised first in.
Okay. And you said that you said something about them. He's I don't remember. You were talking about the other player. I just forgot what you said about that. You give an example if they did this. If this number means this.
Oh, okay.
How do you use that information?
Well, so for this guy, again, it's only 59 hands, but he's pre-flop raise is 20%, and raise first in is 25%. So that means he hasn't. Again, his 3-bet is 12%. So I guess when I look at this guy, he's got a low c-bet percentage, but if he's raising 20% of the time, a better example would be as if he had a high c-bet. So if he had a high c-bet and a 20% opening, we're going to call him a lot more pre-flop, because if he c-bets, he's c-betting too much, we can check raise him, right? Because we know that he's betting too much and opening too wide.
Okay.
It's hard for me to just rattle off. I can show it a lot. Like if I looked up some hands that would make more sense where I had a bigger sample. Let me try and find if I do these by blinds, because the hands, like I did get a lot of hands against some players today, so I got deep in a couple of things.
I just sent a message on to your right.
Sorry? Oh, again?
I just sent a message, yeah. For some reason, it's not getting your invite.
Because I've been copying it, like I'm just copying it right from there and then pasting it into the... Add. Paste. Noodle the River?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, I just sent it to him again. Invitation posted, it says. Well, those are all folded pre-flop. Folded River. Let's see if this one has some more. Yeah, this has got better stats, at least. Actually, I'm going to close that. 7-5. All hands. Can you message Mark again, Troy?
Yeah, I already did.
Did you get it this time? Or? Did he say if he got it?
He hasn't replied yet. He's also at work.
Dedication.
So while
Texas boys. That's just Texas boys. We prefer poker to work.
Is that where you guys are both out of, Texas?
Yeah, he lives about an hour from me.
Oh, cool.
An hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep an eyeball out for him when I'm in Oklahoma, make sure he's not up for taking my money.
That's pretty cool. I think it's kind of neat, like all the people I'm meeting from around the world, I guess you can say, because the one guy I Skyped with was in Costa Rica, and one in England, or two in England,
yeah.
and the rest of you guys have all been in the U.S. I haven't talked to anybody from Canada.
Where do you live?
I'm in London, Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't had any locals. It's kind of neat. But yeah,
I met.
Sorry, what?
I met several players. Said I met several players last January in Manila, Philippines, at the Asian Poker Tour.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Two guys basically snuck behind me. And then I saw them again. This is the first time I met them was in Manila. Then so I saw them again here in at the series.
Yeah, it's amazing. Poker is pretty interesting as far as people go, and you never know who you'll see and where you'll see them. I've played poker tournaments with people, and I have a good memory. I don't remember people's names, but I remember faces and I remember how they beat me. And and so I see these people.
There's a guy.
You just see these people at random places. Like I played a tournament in Oklahoma, and I go to New Orleans, and there's the same bastard that put me out of the tournament, and I'm like, shit. He's like, hey, I know you. I know you.
Yeah, I got another hand here where.
Yeah, there's a guy that I met like several years ago from New Zealand, right? And I have forgotten about him until last January. We saw each other again at the same table in during the Asian Poker Tour, and he had to remind me who he was.
I'm just trying to find a hand with some more info.
I guess that's the best part of poker, that I mean, you meet people from around the world. While you're doing that, Dennis,
yep.
I have a question for Trent. So, Trent, you have been using HUD, right? Is that
well,
right?
yeah. I downloaded Poker Tracker, and all I have is
Yeah.
the limited version. I haven't purchased it yet, so it's just a trial version, and it doesn't allow you to do everything I don't think that you want. It puts this big damn bar across. You can't even see whoever's in the seat at the top of the screen. You can't see any information about his HUD. It blocks all of that information. But I'm going to purchase it tonight. I just don't have time to do
I
it.
just don't. Yeah, I don't understand right now on how and why people are sharing HUDs.
Well, I mean,
Well,
Someone,
it's just a,
please correct me.
it's just their preference. Like the one that comes on Poker Tracker is black and it's long and it has everything laid out, their default settings, whatever information that may be. And this HUD that he's using, he said is Skies, and it's just his preference. You can see mine is black and white. There's no color differentiation.
Oh, okay.
This one,
All
it's
right.
just how do
The
you want to see
settings.
that? Yeah, it's all the same information, possibly, but it's how do you want to view it? What's best to grab your attention to draw? You know, you can quickly look, like you can see right here. You can quickly look and see the big blinds are in the top left corner. And if you know, it's just a layout. All it is.
yeah.
Whatever
yeah,
information,
Uh,
whatever information
okay.
you want to put in there, it's just someone's. They're not any different. They're not going to work any different. It's just that's the way he wants this to look and the information he wants to see and the default colors he wants them to be. You can either make one yourself, I assume you can, or you just.
Well, and I think the thing that Freud that you're missing is I can show you guys. I could give you guys all, or Sky can give everybody this HUD. Doesn't mean they're going to know how to use it, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
and that's my main concern is the fact that I mean everybody's sharing their HUDs, but again it's just all cosmetic and what information you want to show, correct?
Right. Yeah, you can make it. I mean, you can
Yeah.
put it so
Okay.
it doesn't see through if you want. You could have all white numbers. You can change the size of the numbers.
Okay.
You can do so much, but I'm lazy when it comes to
That's
that.
exactly what I was going to say. I said this is for lazy people that say, hey, this works for this guy, and fuck it, I'm just going to use his shit because I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's just like anything else, right? Like, I mean, if you can buy Ape Styles, John Van Fleet, he sells his HUD for like $100, and he's one of the best players out there. So the idea is, oh, get the top player's HUD, right? Or Alex Fitzgerald sells his, but for Hold'em Manager, not for Poker Tracker, but same idea. You can buy his HUD for $100, and now you don't have to worry about going through studying and figure out what stats are important. He's already showed you, but now you still have to know how to use them properly.
Right. It's marketing. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Use it according to your advantage. So
Yeah.
okay.
It's like taking a box.
Yeah, I would think
You know, this guy takes vitamin A from this brand, and I'm gonna buy this vitamin brand because that's what he uses, and I'll be able to knock somebody out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vitamins are vitamins. It doesn't matter who takes them. Same thing with this.
Kind of like basketball shoes. Oh, if I wear Jordan shoes, I'll play like Jordan, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I can wear Phil Hellmuth's hat all day long, but I'm not going to win the main event. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This could you? I'm going to watch all your. I'm going to get on Facebook and try to find all these videos we've had. And I'm on YouTube this weekend. I work too much. I don't get to play poker too much in a real game. I play a stupid game at my house, not at my house, but at a neighbor's house, a couple miles down the street, and they only let you buy them for $20. If you bust, it doesn't matter how much money someone else has. You can only buy in rebuy for $20. So.
Oh my gosh.
It's the dumbest thing ever, but I'm better than most of the guys there. There's one guy that's a better player than me, but he's super tight, and I can play. I'll play him any day for any stakes. He's not going to beat me in the long run unless I get a hand that I can't let go of, and he can't either. Because you know when he's winning, and he tells the truth all the time. He never bluffs. He just folds when he can't, not winning. So, but anyway, that's the only game I get to play. So I got it online, and I want to play so I can learn more. You know, I don't have time to go to the casino and play a bunch. Nearest casinos, 2 hours from my house, hour and a half. And hell, I work 2 full-time jobs, and I work 40 hours straight on the weekends. And I'm going to try to delve into some learning this poker tracker and this other thing. And I just wondered, besides those videos, do you have any ideas or anything? I don't even mind paying for information. You said you took some webinars from Jonathan Little. Can you point me in a direction to help me to learn how to use Flopzilla and Poker Tracker and all these pieces of information half as good as you do.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Oh, can you guys hear me?
I can.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I muted myself. Sorry, I'm just trying one more email address thing for Mark, and then I can answer that for sure.
Okay.
He just sent me a different email to use.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, finally
Is that
made
it?
it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right.
Okay,
Sorry, I was
I
just
don't
trying-
bother you. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah. So, like, what have you done for study so far? Like as far
Me?
as
Me?
yeah.
Brand new. Not
Okay.
much. I opened it up, and I'm a typical guy. I pulled it out of the box too, and look at it for a little bit, and then I'll go back to instructions. And so that's where I'm at now. This weekend, I'm gonna go back to instructions.
So what I did mostly to learn is, like I said, I've done a lot of different webinars and coaching with couple different coaches and different people doing the webinars. I find that like if I was going to recommend someone to get into their stuff, would be Alexander Fitzgerald. Because he's got that, like, for one thing, he's got a newsletter, and it's a weekly newsletter usually. And he's got, like, you can go on his YouTube, he's got hours and hours and hours of free footage, but he's also got lots of webinars for sale. That's what I've studied mostly is the webinars, and he shows you how to use the HUD. He's using his HUD, which is different, but he's giving you all the pertinent stats. You know, when you should be check raising. There's, one of the webinars is just on check raising. One's on donk betting. One on flatting, and one on opening. So I mean, they're all about 4 hours too. So they're well worth it. But if you want to see what he's all about, you can go to his like I said, read some of his articles. Google him. He's got tons of articles. And he's got the YouTube page. I'm going to look up the YouTube page right now for you guys. Just really, I think that's where it's at. He's got a book coming out in September, too. I've pre-ordered it, but I'm really looking forward to that.
Did you say you just look at this and you play around with it and put it away? Because that's exactly what I do with it. I look at all the fancy numbers and then I don't know what to do with it.
You don't use it much?
I have used it probably since I've owned it about a year and a half. I've used it maybe 6-7 times.
Oh, really?
I just don't know how to use it. That's all. That's right.
Like, are you talking about the HUD or the Flopzilla?
No, Flopzilla. I have
Okay.
a HUD.
Yeah, you'll have to watch. Like, I can go over some more still. I'm just trying to find this link.
Dennis has another video as well that's published on Sky's group, the Smart Study Poker, something like that.
Yeah, I put those on just
Yeah.
recently. I did them a while back, but yeah, they're basic, but they give the info. Is there somewhere I can share on here to you guys a link?
Yeah,
I just put
right
that
on
in
the
the chat
right.
box.
Yep, chat bar.
Okay, so there's Alex's website, and I mean everything you can find about him will be on there. All his.
Okay, cool.
But if you join his newsletter, it usually comes out about once a week, and it's a strategy article. And he's got that podcast, which I think is great too. I know some people said they don't like listening to him talk politics and the stories of his life, but when he gets into the poker content, it's phenomenal, the stuff he's thinking and the percentages. And like he said, he's studied this Flopzilla and used this stuff hours and hours and hours on end and done all these calculations, right? So
Who's that?
Alexander Fitzgerald. Assassinato. I don't know if you heard of that. Assassinato. Ask Alex.
Pretty
But
famous.
yeah. He's one of the best coaches out there. I mean, I've learned more. I would like, as soon as he puts a webinar out and announces it, I buy it right away before I even hear what it is because I know it's going to be worth the money. But and again, like I've had private lesson with him too. Like he said, he has no issue with, say, me teaching you guys what he's taught me. He's got absolutely no issue with that. Where some people don't want, but he doesn't want me sharing his webinar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But I can share the information from it.
How long have you been playing, Dennis?
I've only recently. I've just been playing about a year. I took a hiatus for a few years, where when I say playing, I mean playing regularly and studying again. Over the last 5 years before that, I was kind of more focused on my music endeavors and wasn't playing a lot, and at least wasn't taking it seriously. And before that, I had about a 5-year stretch where I was really playing and doing all stuff, but I wasn't wasn't using a HUD or any of that stuff at that point.
Yeah, I can't believe how much different online seems to be. Um,
Yeah.
at least for me, maybe not for everybody else, but I'm like, shit, this is like not even real money. You know, I mean, I can't. My brain, I see. I mean, really, I see numbers on the screen. I don't care if it's $10,000 on there. I'm like, this shit is not real. My brain will not put the link to this is real, and so I'm not normally a lag, but I damn sure am online.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't realize that. I'm like, damn, I'm playing 60% of my hands, you know, and trying to outplay these people at, you know, 2-5.
Oh wow.
And you know, this is horrible. So, well, I mean, you know, not for a bunch of, I mean, hell, you know, it's $20, but I mean,
Yeah.
I can't do that. You know, I've got to fix that, or I'm going to lose a lot of money online. But
So are
Cash
you?
games?
Yeah. So are you strictly playing cash?
no, I've played some tournaments. I played 3 tournaments. I'm chip leader in all 3 damn tournaments within about 2.5 hours. And they're small tournaments, you know, $3, $5 buy-in tournaments. And then I get sucked out. I'm like, this has to be rigged. I get sucked out on 3 damn times in a row to take my whole stack. I'm like, I got it in with the best hand every damn time, way miles above, and this damn 3-outer comes every damn time. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
I've never been sucked out on so bad in my life in a tournament in live, and
Yeah.
you know,
A lot of people get that. I mean, it's you're playing so many more hands too, right? There's more
Yeah.
variance. But yeah, I mean, look at it this way. At least you're getting it in good.
Yeah,
At least
yeah. I mean, whatever. Yeah, it's not like it was. It wasn't a $500 tournament. You know, it's $3.
Yeah.
But it sucks when you're crushing everybody, and then okay, you bust out 12th. Okay,
Yeah.
there goes the first place money.
Yeah. I was gonna say too, if you're playing more cash too, the other guy that I would say to look at is Red Chip Poker. Look at James Sweeney, Split Suit. His
He's the best.
he's only at
Best game. Yeah.
Yeah, he's only cash games, right? So he's if that's what your game is, he'd probably be better. But him and Alex explain everything. I'd say they're using the same strategies, but they explain it in a different way. So
Right.
you might find one of them speaks to you better, like you like the way he puts things out. And they, like I said, they both have so much free content that you can dive into and get an idea of what you think of them before you spend the
Here's
money, which is nice.
I'm really at a loss. This is what I work 2 full-time jobs. I work in a hospital. I have 5 kids. I'm never home while anyone's awake. And so shit, I don't even come home anymore at night. When I get off work, I go play poker wherever I can find it. You know, and that's the closest to my house is this stupid $20 game. You know, I buy it for $20. I leave with $220. I buy it for $20. I lose 40. I buy it for $20. So I leave with 300. And so I'm killing the game, but I hate it. It's a shit game. And they play Omaha and Hold'em, no limit. They don't even play around. It's like whatever you want to deal. So hell, I mean, can you not go all the way around the damn table with one game and then? But I don't care. It's fun. I like all the guys. I don't mind losing my money to them because I know I'll get it back, and I don't risk a lot. It's not a big deal. But I want to quit working 2 jobs. And I don't need to make a fortune in poker. I like tournaments. I'm a tournament guy. I'm not the best in the world. I'm a way better tournament player, I think, than a cash game player. And I just need to make $1,000 a month profit. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's hard at all. I mean, really, honestly, I ought to be able to just go play 1 day a week in a cash game and make $1,000 a month at the Belcher twice a week. But Shreveport, you know, I live in Texas. Shreveport's, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours from my house. And
Where at in
driving there's not.
Texas?
I'm about an hour from you. I live in Hugh Springs, just
Okay,
down
yeah.
30.
Is that Brent?
This Trent.
Trent. Okay, Trent. I don't know why the hell I said Brent.
That's all right.
Okay,
I don't
I
have
know
to
you're
know
from
that.
Texas.
Yeah. I'm about halfway in between you and Texarkana.
Yeah, if you're looking to make that, like you said, it's very possible. Like that's not a big leap. The whole thing is about time, though, right? Like if you want to play tournaments, you're gonna have to be able to put in time, right? Like
Right.
they're hours and hours long.
The way I've been doing it now, I told my wife, I said, hell, I'm going to quit my second job. I'm going to save up about $10,000, and I'm gonna quit work my 40-hour weekend job, and I'm gonna play poker for my second job. And I said I may try some of this online and see where it goes. So I've got not a lot of money. I got a little bit of money online, and I'm gonna see how it works. But right now, what I've been doing, I try to play 4 big tournaments a year, and for me is $1,000 buy-in or less.
Okay.
And they usually end up being about $350, $500. I actually I play a monster stack if I can somewhere about they're like 4,000 or 5,000, 3,500 to 4,500 entries, and then I try to pick a tournament where there's less, a bigger buy-in tournament, $1,000, less people to beat. There's probably 350 people, 400 people. And so, in my mind, it's easier to beat 400 people than it is to beat 4,000. I don't give a shit what game it is.
For sure.
And so, and I do okay. I've not made any big wins. I've played well, and I'm happy with that. But
yeah, I think only this.
I can't.
The online can definitely help your live game too, right? Because you're going to start seeing things differently.
Yeah.
You're going to start seeing other spots that you didn't normally see before. I think too, like the whole thing that as long as you have the time to put in to play the tournaments, you should to make $1,000 a month should be possible.
Yeah.
But you can't just sit and play.
Well.
You can't just sit and play one game on Sunday afternoon every Sunday and expect to make that.
Right.
You got to be playing lots of tournaments.
Right.
So
right.
I'd say just stay at the $3 or $5 ones till you get a hang of how it all works. Especially if you're playing on a new site.
Yeah, there's no way in hell I'd pay $1,000 online tournament. Not right now. I mean, live's the whole live. I don't know all the
Live
math.
is different.
I'm not. It is. I play by the seat of my pants, is how I put it. And I've played a lot of hands, and I just feel like I'm good, and which is probably not the best way to play poker, but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at reading people. I may not know exactly what they have, may not be able to figure all of that out exactly, but I'm pretty good with people, and at least in the games that I've played in, and I'm right enough of the time that playing that way hasn't hurt me. Where I lack problem is I like to trap too much. I'm not extremely aggressive at times when I should be, and so I'm not getting all the value out of the hands that I need to be getting, and I always end up there's this one tournament here in Shreveport. I don't know if you've been down there, Mark, but Wednesday is a $100 buy-in tournament. There's no rebuys, no re-entries. It's $100. Not a lot of people. 70 people. There's probably, I don't know, $1,000, $1,200, $1,400 for first place. Quick tournament.
Yeah.
I final table that thing probably 80% of the time I play it, but twice I've had a huge stack. Every other time I've probably played it 150 times. Every other time I'm a short stack, and that's the good thing is that I'm pretty good with a short stack because I'm there all the time short at the final table. But and so somewhere I'm lacking. How the hell do these people building these huge stacks? Because I don't seem to do it, and that's where my tournament play sucks.
Yeah.
Is I don't have enough chips.
Well, I mean, I don't, like you said, you've only used Poker Tracker a couple times, but if you get a couple sessions in and get a bunch of hands together, or if you got one tournament where you say, here, what went wrong? Like, I'm up for reviewing it with you, and go over hand for hand, and we can see where the problems are, right? Or if there's spots you're missing value, or spots you're going bluffing too much, or whatever it might be, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way we get better, right? I mean, you can only watch so much and read so much, getting into the actual studying and breaking it down I found that when I started doing that with somebody, me and Sky started doing weekly sessions, and both of us felt that we would get more out of 1 hour of reviewing hands together than you would get on your own for 15 hours, because all of a sudden, when you review a hand by yourself, you're like, oh yeah, I made the right play, this is good. But then you might say, whoa, Dennis, what are you talking about? How do you think the guy's going to check there? Of course he's going to, he should be betting those hands there. Why aren't you putting those hands in there? And I might say, oh, you're right. So you start seeing things from different angles that you might not have on your own. It all comes down to how honest you can be with yourself too, right? Some people just don't want to hear that they made a mistake and don't want to fix it.
Right.
So that's a big thing. If you're open to learning, then you can take it all the way.
Right. Well, you know, how to study is something that's kind of been you can read a book, but
yep.
Reading a book and putting that knowledge to use is two different things. And I really almost at a loss about how to study. Not really, but
I was there too. About not even a year ago, I was in that same spot. I was reading all this stuff and webinars, and well, how do I actually study this though? How do I sit down and review my play? And then, like I say, I got some lessons and stuff, and then that was the most valuable thing out of the lessons was learning how to self-evaluate, because you can. I mean, what I'll do, for example, I'll go into my Poker Tracker 4. I without seeing your databases, I'm sure everybody knows, like, you lose most of the money in the big blind. Over the course of 1,000,000 hands, you're going to lose more hands in the big blind than anywhere else because you're starting at a disadvantage. You've already put money in the pot. So if you fold every hand in the big blind, you're going to lose over 100 hands. If you folded every time in the big blind, you would lose 100 big blinds. But if you're in first position and folded for 100 hands, you would lose 0 big blinds. So you've done better in first position without even playing a hand. So the first spot, what I do is I set up my filters just to review all of my big blind hands and go over every big blind hand because that's the worst spot of the table to play. So if you review 500 hands and they're all of the big blind, you just got 500 more hands of experience in the big blind to find situations to work yourself in or out of.
Okay.
So I mean that's where I would go first. Like that, other than just reviewing a whole hand history, I'll do that too and go over the whole tournament, and say, where did I make mistakes? Where did I make good plays? But if you find a leak, that's the best because you can set filters in your Poker Tracker 4, like maybe every time. And that's the other one too. The other software I was showing earlier. I don't know if I didn't really show an example. Have you guys got this, the Hold'em Resources Calculator?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so this is just a hand setup. I got a few set up. So here's one for shoving, right? Everybody's got 10 big blinds at the table. This is what this is assuming. So you pick your position. Say you're in the big blind, and the small blind shoves on you with a 10 big blind stack. Well, this is saying that these are the hands that he can profitably shove in the big blind in the small blind with a 10 big blind stack. Now, would you have ever thought that 6-3 suited is profitable to shove with there?
No,
I don't. But it is. It's barely profitable, but it's making 0.08 big blinds per 100 times doing it, right? But then we can break it down and say, well, if I'm in the big blind, what should I call with? Well, you should be calling with 55% of the hands. And I'm sure most of us aren't doing that. At least I know I'm not.
Right.
Like it's saying that you should be calling, if somebody shoves on you in the small blind and you have 10 big blinds, you should be calling with pocket twos. You should be calling with Queen 3 offsuit, 10-6 suited. If you're not, you're making negative folds, negative EV folds. Now I tighten mine up. I want more than these are all 0.02 for Queen 3 offsuit. I'm okay with folding that. But when you start to get up to Queen 6 offsuit, I know these numbers are hard to see, but it says 0.67. So you're making 0.67 big blinds every time you make that call. So it's more about the online. You're playing more of a math game, right?
Do what?
You're playing more of a math game when you play online. But the thing is, if you play enough of these hands and you start to know these spots and you go play live, well then I'm going to call with Queen 7 suited. It's a fist pump call because I'm getting 1.46 big blinds every time I make that call. Now pulling the trigger is the other part, right?
Right. Right.
But yeah, and you can change with this. You can change the amount of big blinds. Like that was with 10 big blinds, and then over here this is now with 13 big blinds. I've got this one set up for 20 big blinds. Well, it changes all of a sudden if a guy shoves on the small blind. Now you can see the queen. We wouldn't call 20 big blinds with Queen 7 suited. It's a negative 1.26 big blinds. So there's so much to study. I mean, how I'll use this is if I'm reviewing hands and I'll find a spot where a guy shoved on me. And I'll think, well, should I have called there? And I can go to the position in the big blinds, put the info in, and it'll tell me whether I should have called or not mathematically.
Which program is that? That's not part of?
That's Hold'em Resources Calculator. I can't remember. It's a subscription one, so I can't quote you on what the price is. But I did the more you subscribe for, I think you can do a 7-day free trial.
I think it's 2 weeks now.
Is it 2 weeks? Yeah, so 2 weeks free. So find a time when you know you've got a bunch of hands built up, and start using your poker tracker and use this as a free trial and see if you like it. But it's one of those softwares I wouldn't live without now.
Okay.
So you start to notice, like I know I push and call too tight. I don't call wide enough, and I don't shove wide enough when I'm on 10 big blinds.
Right. I can shove pretty loose, but calling loose is a whole different deal.
Yeah, but you have to learn to do it right to be playing right. See here, I've got a little note that I've made. It's 10 big blinds shove, and I've got each position, and these are the hands with 10 big blinds. I calculated to have a bit of an edge, a bigger edge than what it says here, so I know for sure it's a fist pump, like it's a real good play. And so when I'm in a tournament and I get down to 10 big blinds, I pull this little note up there and I look. I'm in third position and I've got pocket threes. It says it's a plus EV play. I shove it. Now again, sometimes it gets tense and you don't want to make the shove, but you know whether or not you should have.
Right.
But yeah, that's hand review is the way to study. But you got to have hands or have somebody that has hands to review with you. Like I say, I'm willing to do that with anybody anytime if they want to review my hands or review their hands either way.
I love doing that. If you guys want to make a day or whatever, you guys do it. I love doing hand reviews.
Yeah.
I have some people that would come too. I mean, I have some guys that play with me. They're coaches right now. They coach people that would come to have their own hands reviewed. You know,
cool.
And just
I
discuss
think
them.
Yeah, I've been looking to do some kind of study and learn some more. I'm probably the worst player in this whole group, but I may not be. I don't know, but I don't have an ego, and so I'd like to learn any way that I can. I've actually thought of there's a place up there, Mark. You probably know these guys, but Big Slick Poker Academy there in Dallas. I played with a couple of those guys in a tournament, and I talked to them after the tournament actually, and try to find out what kind of thing they have going on. But hell, they've got a damn table up there, RFID. You'll play a live game, and then they review your play. It's filmed. The whole thing's filmed, and after the play, they break it down person by person and talk about their game and how they played hands and what they should have done, or they have a big discussion. And I thought about paying for that and going up there and doing that, but
how much does that cost?
I think it varies. They have like little packages and things in classes they have set up, but I don't know that I want to do all the classes. I would, but before I do that, I'd like to let me go in there and play a cash game, or play. It's a single table. Play a cash game, and let's actually review the game I have now before someone gets in my head and confuses my plan. And but I don't know. I don't remember. I got it written down somewhere. I don't think it's too bad. I just don't know. I don't know if it's worth it or not.
I would think it probably is, right? As long as it's people that know what they're talking about. I mean, the reason I say that is I know that paying somebody to review hands with you online is worth it. I got so much out of it. As long as the person knows what they're talking about, right?
Right. That's the deal. I don't know how. I don't think that. I wouldn't say they don't. I'm pretty sure they know more than me.
Oh.
But I don't know.
Yeah, if they've got a business,
if
they're going to be able to pay the money, they must know something.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Trent, we're the one that's home game people here, and Dennis and Mark are online players. So I can totally relate to what you're saying earlier, that you're crashing the home games and wanted to make more money online.
Well,
is that right, Trent?
Well, yeah. We have a handful of players. So we have 50 players that play in our home games, and they're not all there at the same time. We have there's a tournament in one guy's house, and then there's a cash game at this guy's house, and there's another one. And it's all the same pool of people. 5 of them are great players. The rest of them suck. They have a lot of money, or they don't have money. They don't care. They just play poker just to drink beer and talk. They have no idea. I mean, they're calling every bet to the river with 7 deuce. Some of these people. So it's not like
Them are good games.
Yeah, I mean it's good for money, but so I can beat these
You
guys.
want to be better.
I can beat them, so that doesn't mean shit to me because they suck. You know what I mean? So
Okay, let me ask you this. This is based on my own experience. That do you travel to play, Trent?
I I travel an hour and a half to play cash in tournaments. When I go play, I play at Choctaw and WinStar and New Orleans for tournaments.
Okay.
That's
I
about
started.
all places I go.
Yeah, I started traveling about 3 or 4 years ago after I thought I was good, that I'm killing home games, right? But but after I travel, I noticed that the caliber of players that I play with out of town, they're killing me. And so, but then again, now I'm starting to get better and stuff. But it's just that the traveling is also killing me. Like tomorrow, I will be traveling 3 hours away from here, and so I would be playing at the series over at Jackpot, Nevada. And so I've been doing. I find myself improving that way. Now I just wanted to learn the online stuff, so at least I could work or play while I'm at home. That's my goal.
Right. I don't. Yeah.
Um,
I don't have a group of people to talk to locally. I have some that want to talk poker and they're excited about poker as I am, but I don't really want to listen to their information because it's. I mean, I really don't because it's horrible, and I'm smart enough to know that. But they learn. I talk to them and tell them how I think, but I tell him he doesn't need to really learn from me. What I think may not be the best way for you to play because it doesn't fit your style. This guy's very aggressive. Matter of fact, he goes plays tournaments with me, and I buy him into all the satellites for cash, and he kills them. That's his thing. I mean, single table satellites, he crushes that shit. But he cannot play a monster stack tournament for nothing. Uh, you know, and so, but I there's not a good pool of good players. Now, when I go to the casino and I play tournaments, I know who the good players are, and I'm friends with all these people, and I talk to them, and I tell them how, hey, this is what happened to me, and how would you approach this, or why did you take this line after you had a break or something? It's like, hey, man, how do you? And I got 2 or 3 players that will tell me what they were thinking when they were playing against me because they're not worried about me screwing up their game or them knowing something that I'm going to use against them. They're just leaps and bounds better than me, and they're not worried about me learning. Some people are. Some people don't want to tell you anything until after the game's over, and they still don't want to tell you. So,
yeah,
kind of,
that's a big no-no. You don't want to give lessons or tell the entire table what you're thinking. I usually, if someone would ask me, I usually pull them aside, or I would just tell them that I'll tell you later during break time. But
yeah,
to be answering somebody else's question at the table, you're volunteering, you're voluntarily giving them information how you play.
right.
So that's just me. I don't
Well,
mind helping out other people, but eh, giving it at the table, that's a for me that's a big no-no because I mean especially on a tournament, you're gonna
right.
be there, you're gonna stay there for a while, and they would know how you think, your tendency and stuff.
Right. Well, I said all that just to say that that's why I'm excited to be part of this group is because there's some people that I know that are probably a lot better than me and I can learn from. Sadly enough, I don't know that I have a hell of a lot to offer anybody. Um, you know what I mean? I mean, I could probably tell you, give you an insight. What is this idiot thinking? I can answer those questions, but
I'm sure we all have something we can learn from each other. Yeah. I'm sure. I mean, like, we'll all end up pointing out things that not everybody's thinking about, right? Or get people thinking on different lines.
Yeah, that's why I truly believe that there is no specific strategy for a specific hand for a specific person because it all depends on how we play, how comfortable we are. I mean, we can't basically tell or we can't do a Tom Dwan style of play if we don't have the balls or we don't believe in it.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
But yet, there's, I mean, we're not in any position or anybody in any position to criticize somebody else's play because of the fact that they've been successful in their own style of play.
True.
Mark,
Yeah, go ahead.
Mark, I seen that you'd asked some questions about Flopzilla. I'm just curious, did you have any specific questions
No.
for Dennis? Because I'd sure like to hear some specific answers. I don't know enough about it to ask to even ask a question.
Yeah, for sure.
I know how to use it. I guess what I would like to know is how you use it in an efficient manner, because there's other calculations that go into it other than just what it's telling you, right? I mean, you need to you have to have some sort of hand reading ability to try to put the guy on a range before you put it in there or whatever. So are you using HUD stats to say this guy is a certain opponent model, and then you put that range in there, or?
Yeah, that's exactly, and then I do it right for, like we did it earlier for Flop Turn River. I just picked a random hand here, so, oh, that's not a good one. Not in that hand. Just trying to find a hand that, actually, let me look again. I'm just trying to find one that has action all the way through, so it's, let's see what happens here.
My donk game is blowing my phone up. I'm going to have to go take these guys' money, I guess, here in just a minute.
Let's move these out of the way quick.
The caliber of players I'm playing with, these guys are like, I'm like, why would you call that bet? I mean, good God, you just give me your money. And I'm just, I'm not really trying to teach them or coerce them, but we're friends, and so I poke at them, and they're like, I'm not ever worried about what you're doing. I just play in my cards. They don't care about position or what anybody else is doing, what line they're taking.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to them. And I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, so you need to take that into consideration when you make moves on them, right? Because that's where your advantage is. You're thinking about it, and they're not. You have to keep in mind, you can't try and sell them on a bluff, right? You can't try and, I got to try and represent a hand here, because they don't think that far.
They don't. And it costs me about. It cost me a few nights of playing to realize it.
Well, guys, I would strongly recommend. Go ahead, Trent.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I wouldn't say anything important.
Oh no, I would just strongly recommend Poker Mindset, because that's the one that helped me a lot, and so I really treat my game as a business.
Best
and
book
when it
ever
comes to
written.
mentality. When it comes to mentality, I mean, what you just described, Trent, they're on level 0, and so you just need to be one level above them to beat them. Because if they don't give a shit about what you have or their position, technically, you could use that to your advantage. But yet, if you know someone that thinks about, your hand, and then you need to think above their level to think about, I wonder what do they think I have, and try to represent that or try to fool them.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, mental game is a big part of it, right?
Oh yeah, it's just as important as the strategy, because really poker is all about deception.
Yeah.
However, online, that is something that I'm trying to adjust and trying to figure out how I'm going to apply what I believe to be my strength in live games to online. So I believe that my strength is basically reading people, finding, getting information from them and trying to figure out their tendency, what most likely they will do in that certain situation. If I would raise it, what would they do? Most likely, how conservative they are, how loose they are. And I can't do that online, other than um, I have to rely with numbers like this poker tracker that you guys are using online. So those are the only information that we can rely on, because you can't see them, we can't really talk to them,
Yeah, it's a different set of tells, right?
Oh yeah, it's a different set of tells. like if I would be playing with Trent right now, I can tell that Trent it has the Negrano style that talks on the table and makes jokes a lot, and he also have some sort of a Antonio Espanjari feel like style, wherein he would boost other egos, e- other players' ego just to get more information out of them. Is that right, Trent?
You got a pretty good read.
You're pretty laid back and stuff. You like to joke around and stuff. So, I mean, with that type of table image, I mean, that I play exactly the same thing just to get information.
So
So,
here's I just got to show a hand, or I found one where when kind of show Mark what I like how I'd use it. So I put in ace queen, right? I raised with ace queen here, and the guy's 3-bet. His 3-bet's 13%, which isn't really wide. But when I look in here, I see that he's 3-bet already with pocket queens. That's the only one I've seen. But he's been super tight as far as opening. It's only been 26 hands, but if we assume that he's a typical player from the stats. So I've got 3-bet ranges here. So on the button, what do I think he's going to 3-bet me? Let's say he's got a wide one, depolarized. So now I've plugged in a range for him. So pocket 8s up to aces, 10-9 suited and up, and then all these other suited and off-suited broadways, basically. That's what we set him on. So I call him, and the flop comes ace 9-2. So we plug that in. And it's my lead, so turn that off. So I can see right away these are his equity in the hand. My equity is 80% versus his 20, and my hand is best here 83% of the time. So
even after you remove the, did he donk bet into you or no? He just checked.
no, it's
Or no, it's never mind. You're out of position here. Okay,
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So his stats don't say much. There hasn't been any c betting information against him, but since he 3-bet, typically I'll check to the 3-better. Let's get this right in so many buttons. So I checked, and he bets less than half of the pot. So that's when I'd come over here and look to see, well, what's he betting half a pot with? Well, I know he's betting sets, 2 pairs, top pair. I mean, he's 3-bet, right? So he's probably betting almost everything. We'll even put him on what's weak pairs, showing a pair of 8s is the worst pair that he'd bet here. So let's say he's betting everything except for no made hands. There's no open-ended straight draws, no gut shots. So right there, he's betting 57% of the hands, right? And our equity in the hand is still 69, and we're getting 20% pot odds, and we got 69%. So is it a check raise or is it a call, right? I guess you can make an argument for either. Let's just see what I did. So I raised him. And he calls. So what's he calling with and not 4-betting with? Or sorry, 3-betting with? So I think if he has a set there, he's going to get it in. And he didn't. He's probably going to get it in with his ace-9 or is the only possible hand there. And he didn't. He called. Let's say he'd call the top pair, which is 50% of the hands there. Pocket pair below top pair, would he call the raise? So
Probably not.
King, Queens, Jacks 10. Let's say that he called with it, just for argument's sake. Is he going to call a 10-9 here? I'm going to say no. I don't think so. And I don't think he's going to call with pocket 8s after the raise. There is no no-made hand. There's no open-ended straight draw. He could have a 2-card backdoor flush draw. Again, I don't think that's calling. There's no open-ended with a pair. There's no gut shot with a pair. So plugging that in, that means that we've got him narrowed down already to pocket 10s to pocket kings, ace king, ace queen, ace jack, or ace 10 suited or offsuit. So our hand is best right now, 72% of the time, and our equity is 72%. So let's see what comes next. We get the 6 of diamonds, which leaves him with the same hands, and the equities haven't changed, as that didn't help his range at all. Could not have helped his range.
Yep.
So, I'm already all in. I didn't notice it was all in. let's say that, well, that should be better.
So I think it should have opened his range when you went all in because he's getting, I don't know how much pot odds they were getting the call there if you're bluffing. But
Yeah, so it could have opened it up, yeah. Sorry, I should have noticed that I went all in there. That's my bad. But let's just see what he comes up with. So he had pocket queens, which was within what we thought he had, right?
Yep.
So it's hard to find a really strong example. I'm trying to find one.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect. I completely understood it.
Yeah, and like I say, you can start working on your bet sizing, right? So you start looking and say, well, I only bet half a pot there, and I should have bet 2/3 pot, or the other way around. Maybe you were getting 40% pot odds, and you bet pot size bet. It has to work 50% of the time, and you're only getting 40% equity. It's not a good bet, right? Or not as good of a bet. Or vice versa.
And how quickly he explained it. It was taking me forever to figure out how to. Well, I didn't know the sequence of events. Plug in the flop there on the other side, then look at your equity, and then determine his range, and then see what your equity is against the range.
Yeah.
And then I guess you determine your action and your bet size, or like you said, if you're checking the hand, then you're determining what to do when he bets.
Yeah.
Should you raise? Should you? Okay.
And the idea is the more of those hands that you review in that style, the more you'll start to think that off the top of your head when you're playing, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot to think about, especially online. I think if you guys are going to start playing online, that's one of the things. You get like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a little bit of a time bank, and then the stuff's got to click.
Yeah, it's not like you can sit there and make those calculations, but you start to practice those calculations.
Absolutely. That HUD is killer, man. Did you make that?
No, Scott, that's Sky's HUD. If you have, if you buy Poker Tracker 4 through his link, he sends it to you, but otherwise he sells it for $50 on his website. It's well worth saving yourself building it.
I might buy it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's killer, and it goes even deeper, right? Like you can get into. Let's call it this. That was the hand there. It's different. So when you're in the HUD too, so he has it. If you look at VPIP, and you can click on it, and then it shows. He limped only 10% of the time. He limp folded 100%. Limp call. He hasn't limp called. You can look. Okay, he raised first in early position. He hasn't raised first, but he's 50% of the hands he raised first was for middle position. For only 11% of his raised first, right? Total for the stat. So he's raised 2 times out of 18, first in, but only both times were in middle position. Well, so out of 4 opportunities in middle position. Then you can get into the check raises, check flop, and the regression frequency, donk flop or donk betting, C betting frequencies. It gets pretty in depth. I mean, he's saved doing all the work, right? He's programmed the whole thing.
Yeah, that took some time.
And it's yeah. I mean, look at here's all the 3-bet, right? The 3-bet stats. So I mean, I typically for the most part just go off the first page. Right? And I'll look at how many hands. Like this is 4 out of 4 on a 3. This guy's folded to a 3-bet 4 times out of 4. Probably not a bad idea to 3-bet him, right? Like I said earlier today, I had a girl that was 13 out of 16 or 14 out of 17. It's just basically she raises, you re-raise because you know that she's going to fold almost every time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I like how he's done this too for for your own personal one. It's got the big blinds and a big number, and then he's got all your other, you know. Yeah, I highly recommend. Like his HUD's really good. It's served me really well. I've got a couple of videos that I did some screenshot. I got to the final table, so I just started recording the final table without volume, just so I could review my play again and look at how I use the HUD. And it was pretty cool to get it because the deeper you get, the more hands you get against people, the more you can actually use it to your advantage. So when you get to a final table, you've been playing against some of those guys, hundreds of hands, and you can just pick them apart. And then not everybody's using a HUD, right? Like they still say maybe 20% of players are using a HUD. So it's a huge advantage. It's
Well, a lot
totally
of
plus.
people that have them don't know how to use them at all anyway. So
And that's the next step, is that you nailed it right there. So out of 20% that have it, how many of them actually know what they're doing with it?
Yeah, you stick me in that group.
next
Ah,
time,
yeah, now we can fix that. We can fix that quick, too.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
if you guys...
I
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you guys, I don't know if Sky, like I'm on the Patreon thing supporting him, so I get his podcast like before everybody else. So I don't know if the one I listened to today came out yet, but it's on MEDs, like minimum effective doses, and basically that's all this stuff I'm doing is breaking it down, or other people have broken it down, and just using the minimum effective dose, like just knowing the few stats and using those plays to your advantage makes such a big difference.
Yeah, that might be a good
just
starting point, just to start with a few things.
Yeah.
It's a lot of information to try to digest at once when you don't know what the hell.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, as I say, we can start to break it down smaller topics and smaller segments. I just wanted. It seemed like not many people had used Flopzilla much, right? And it's one thing to have it; it's another to know how to use it.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say if you guys don't have Flopzilla, get it. it's a must-have. Even if you're just going to play live, you can take your hands from your live game, you take notes and come back and start going over. Did I make the right bet size there, or what range? It gets you thinking in ranges too.
Man, I wish there was an easier way to take note to keep track of your live hands. God.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think the main thing I used it for, which I still use it, is Flopzilla anyway. The things that I was able to get out of it is when you're stuck with a short stack, what should you jam with? And it's really weird when you put that in there, because hands like 7-6 suited are like really highly ranked if you think somebody's calling with an ace something. And
well, that's what I said.
neat.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'd get with this, with the Hold'em Resources calculator, and just use that totally for the shoving and calling ranges, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start to know them. You start to know this hand and up, right? You start thinking in ranges.
I need to take a vacation and come to Canada for a week.
We need to do it during the summer for sure, man.
Yeah, it's hot here right now. It's gonna be cold again soon. Yeah, hit me up on the Facebook chat and stuff too, you guys. Like, if you guys want to do one-on-one stuff or whatever, and have a specific thing you want to go on, we can arrange that too.
Yeah, I have that. Well, I got that trial. I used that, and then I made myself it's written down what I'm going to call the shove with, what I'm not going to call it, or what I'm going to shove with at certain stack depths, so I don't have to. Of course, it changes in the middle of the game flow or whatever, but it helps to have a cheat sheet right next to you saying, you're calling with this or.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like about the idea of online is I can have a cheat sheet and not look like a complete dumbass. Well, you know what I mean?
For sure, yeah. I have sticky notes on my monitor for things like check raise bluff. So I've got it sitting here and it says if their pre-flop raise is 25% or higher and their c-bet is 75 or 70% or higher, I'm going to check raise them. Because I know they can't possibly have a hand that 70% of the time if they're opening that wide. So they're the candidates where I look for a check raise. So I'll look for a board, a board that looks really dry, and they throw their c-bet out, say it's all low cards, a dry board, and I just check and they bet. Then you re-raise them, you check raise them pot size, and most times they fold, right? Because they can't have hit a hand enough times. So it only has to work if you bet pot 50% of the time. And if they're folding 60 or 70% of the time in that spot, bet it up, right? Like I said, that's all stuff that you start to. I have those notes there, but it's to help me memorize them so that when you're playing, you start to just see those spots.
Right. Okay. Well, man, I've got to get off here. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, anytime.
When you guys are done with this, where is this video going to be?
YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, I will try to catch whatever I missed before I got in here.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, and if you have any questions on any of that stuff, just message me on it. I like this idea about it streaming and then being on video because that's kind of cool. We already had one person jump in and out, and then somebody came in. Like it's kind of like there's been somebody at the beginning, somebody in the middle, somebody else new at the end.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sure if guys watch it from the group, they'll probably have questions too.
You can also just send us the link on Facebook.
That's what I'll do. As soon as I'm done and as soon as it publishes, I'll send you guys the link in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Then everybody can find it easy. I just have it on public too because I didn't have everybody as contacts. That way people can get in and out. But if you guys are cool with that, I can always put it private if you guys don't want other people seeing it.
Yeah, it didn't. I don't care.
Okay. What about you, Froy? You got any other questions or anything going on today?
Nope. That's it.
Yeah, we're getting on almost 2.5 hours here. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna be Mark. Are we still on tonight?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
I was gonna say too, all three of you too. If anytime you want to sweat me I'll post on if I'm grinding or something. If you guys want to sweat me and watch, I have no problem with sharing my screen with you on Skype or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Then I can show you how I use it in action, the HUD.
Yeah, I'd really love to do that.
Cool.
Yeah, I watched Dennis last Sunday. It was great, man.
Yeah, I didn't get any big caches for him to see, but it's fun for me too because it makes me have to justify. If you say, "Why'd you do that there?" and then I have to explain myself, right?
Right.
Yeah, I was talking about that last week to Roy. I said there's nothing like having those sweat sessions because you kind of get in a mindset where it's just the mindset that you're in when you're asking the questions and when you're taking them that you don't get any other place.
Yeah.
I still remember your quad aces, Dennis.
Yeah. Yeah, I flop quad aces on a two-tone board, so there's 2 diamonds and 2 aces, and I ended up there was 3 guys in the pot, one before me. I was in the middle of them, and like the first guy checked, and I bet us like it was a 4,400 chip pot, so I bet 1,000 because I didn't want to let any. Like I thought I got to get something out of this, and they both folded almost instantly. I should have let it go straight.
That's the way it always goes. You flop a huge hand and no one pays you a dime.
Well, yeah. How do you make money on quad aces, right? But that's why I bet it. But like Freud was saying, I should have checked. But my thought was, if I bet small enough, it looks like I'm just trying to steal it, right? Maybe somebody will raise me off it.
Right.
But it didn't work.
Yeah, I think you kind of lock the deck down when you get flopped up.
Yeah. Even if somebody hits a flush, they're not going to pay off. Probably they can be scared. But yeah, let's wrap it up then, and I'm going to stop the broadcast anyway.
Nice to meet